Hello, welcome to Math with Mr. Dobrescu to the rescue. Let's look today at writing equations from a table. So our lesson today will focus on writing equations from a table of values. So we have a table of values here. We have the x and the y values. X is 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then the y values are 3, 7, 11, and 15. And the first question is, what is the rate? Does anyone remember what is a rate? So when you have a table or a graph, the rate will represent our slope. So the rate is our slope. Let's see if we can find the rate or the slope just by looking at the table. Let's see if we can find a pattern for the y values and a pattern for the x values in order for us to identify the changes in the y over the changes in the x. If we look at the x values, we see that each time the x values are increases by 1. They increase by 1. So from 0 to 1, we are adding 1. From 1 to 2, we are adding 1. And from 2 to 3, we also are adding 1. Let's take a look now to see if we see any pattern for the y values. So if we look at the y values from 3 to 7, in this case we are adding 4. So plus 4. From 7 to 11, we are adding 4. And from 11 to 15, we are adding 4. So our slope equals, or the rate equals the changes in the y. There's another notation, delta y, or changes in the y, and that's our rise, over changes in the x. We call that delta x, and that would be the rise over the run. So the rise in our case, the pattern is we are adding 4 each time, so it's plus 4. So delta y is plus 4, so the rise is plus 4, and the run in our case is plus 1, because each time we are adding 1, so plus 1. And 4 divided by 1 is 4, so our slope equals 4. So we found the slope in our equation, which we are going to write an equation, and the equation is going to be written into this form. Y equals mx plus b. And we already found the slope. We found the m. Okay? So now we need to find the b. And after we find the b, we can write our equation. But let's try to answer the second question. What is the starting value? So the starting value, if you remember, a while back, I posted a video and I talked about Sacramento Airport being the starting value, right? It's where the line crosses the y-axis, and that's the starting value. So in our case, if we look at these 2 points, 0 and 3, when x is 0, y is 3. So obviously our starting value would have to be 3. Okay, so we have x and y values. When x is 0, y is 3, and that's our b. So x is 0, y is 3. So our b is 3. That's our y-intercept, where the line would cross the y-axis at 3, and that's our starting value. So b, or we call that y-intercept. And we found b equals 3. So b equals 3 is where the line crosses the y-axis. So we have the m, we have the b, and now we can write our equation. Keep the y and keep the x. So we have y equals, instead of m, we have 4. So it's going to be 4x. And instead of b, we are going to plug in 3, plus 3. final answer, y equals 4x plus 3. Let's take a look at another example now. The same thing, write an equation from a table. We have this table here. Okay, so the equation is y equals mx plus b, and we have a table of values. So again, let's take a look to see if we can find the rate or the slope. We are going to find the slope. M equals, and let's find out what is the changes in y. Delta y, and then we are going to find the changes in x. Okay, let's see what are the changes in the y. So if we go from -4 to -2, remember when we are in the negative world, from -4 to -2, we have to add 2. So let's add 2 in this case, because -4 plus 2 becomes -2. And the same thing, from -2 to go to 0, we are going to also add 2. And from 0 to go to 2, we are also adding 2. So the delta y, what changes in the y, is plus 2. Now, let's find the changes in the x. So from 0 to go to 1, again plus 1. From 1 to go to 2, another 1 plus 1. And from 2 to go to 3 is just 1 plus 1. So delta x, or the changes in the x, is just plus 1. And 2 divided by 1 is 2. So our slope equals 2. So we found the slope. So our slope, our m, we found it to be 2. Okay, and now let's try to find the b. Remember, to find the b, we are looking at the y-intercept. And we are looking at the order pairs when x equals 0. So we are choosing this order pair. When x is 0, y is -4. The same thing, we have the x and the y value. When x equals 0, y is -4, and that's going to be our b, right? X is 0, y is -4. So our b is -4. b equals -4. That's our starting point where the line crosses the y-axis. So the b equals -4. Starting value -4. The slope was 2. And here is -4. And now we can write the equation. So we have y equals, the slope is 2 now. So we're going to have 2x and plus b. But since b is -4, it's going to be -4. Our final answer. I hope these examples helped you. And now you are able to write an equation from a table. Again, first identifying the pattern for the y values, which in this case was 2. We added 2 each time. Delta y, changes in the y, over changes in the x. The pattern for the x was plus 1 each time. So we found the m, the slope, which was 2. Once you find the slope, then we are going to identify the y-intercept. And in this case, the y-intercept was -4. And finally, we write the equation. Y equals 2x minus 4. Thank you all so much again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.